Welcome to the Total Boss Podcast, and I'm your host, Christiano Green, a podcast where we talk about finding fulfillment through self-development, being a leader of your own life, and getting the most out of it as well. Tenacity, originality, talent, authenticity, and being legendary. It's all about living your best life. Hello, all you total bosses out there, and welcome to another episode of the Total Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Christiano Green, and I'm a mindset and relationship coach for gay men. So this week on the podcast, I wanted to talk about a topic that I get lots of questions about. I get lots of people asking me or sharing with me about the kind of relationship that they're in. They want to know, is this normal? Does this fit into, a normal set stance on relationships? And if not, is there something wrong with it, right? Because there are quite a lot of different kinds of relationships out there. So I'm going to go through the different kinds of relationships today so that we kind of discuss and understand them so that you can realize how, one, normal that they are, and two, also be aware that some of them aren't so good for us. And so what can we do to either fix the relationship that we're in, if it's possible, or kind of, leave it and find something a bit more healthy. Or also, if we're not in a relationship, we can kind of understand which one kind of feels right for us, right? Because, there is never just one cookie cutter model of a relationship that's going to work for everybody here. So let's jump in first and talk about the normal kind, which is just a monogamous relationship. And I know if we look out there in the media and the stereotypes, they say that gay men are more promiscuous. They wouldn't be having these kinds of monogamous relationships. But I can tell you, when we look at statistics, it's very similar for gay people as it is for straight people when it comes to having monogamous relationships. It's still the number one kind of relationship that is out there. Again, it's not for everybody, but it's available to you. So what does monogamous mean? It means that you and your partner, you're in a relationship, and it's a committed relationship between the two of you. And you've decided to live life together, right? Oftentimes, it starts out where you meet someone, you get in a relationship, you're dating, you get serious, you call someone your partner, your boyfriend, whatever it is, and then you may then go exclusive. And when you go exclusive, you're exclusive to that person, meaning that your intimate relationship is solely with them. Then you may, as the relationship progresses, you might move in together, you might get married, you might start a family, all those kinds of things. So kind of like the normal kind of key way that you might look at it as well. None of those need to happen for it to be monogamous, but that's kind of what, the stereotypical monogamous relationship is that you create a life with just one person as well. Now, when we talk about relationships as well, there are intricacies within relationships that can be added to that as well. So we might talk about an asexual relationship, right? Now, an asexual relationship is usually built within two people where they have an intimate relationship, they have a romantic relationship, but oftentimes they don't have a sexual relationship. Maybe one or both of the people aren't too sexually active in a sense, meaning that they don't find sex to be an appealing thing. They maybe love the intimacy, they love romantic things, they might love, other ways of feeling intimacy. But when it comes down to sex, it's just maybe not the priority. Or it could be just that they have a lower sex drive as well. So it might not be that they don't have it at all. It might be that they have it a lot less frequently, and their relationship is built on other things outside of sex as well. Whereas you compare it to, say, an allosexual relationship, these kinds of relationships are clearly built on sex. So the sexual intimacy is probably one of the most highest important forms of the relationship, and maybe these people are having sex a lot, and that's what their relationship is built on. So oftentimes when it comes to allosexual, the thing that needs to be worked on is that, what's the relationship outside of the bedroom, right? Of course, it's great and it's amazing for you to have that intimate relationship sexually, but what else is there on top of it? Because oftentimes what you want to look out for is that, if you're both in this kind of relationship, as one person kind of, maybe weans off of it, the other person may not feel this is right for them. And then you start to see the differences between you. So if you're in an allosexual relationship, you've got to look and go, what else can we build on top of this to make this relationship substantiate as well? Then you've got something like an open relationship. Now, an open relationship is where you, of course, are you're in a committed relationship with someone, but you have more open relationships. So you can probably go out there and have intimate relationships with other people. Usually just sex. So usually a lot of you can set up your own rules, your own desires with your partner. The most important thing is that if you have an open relationship, that you are on the same page, you communicate well about what's going on here. Otherwise, it can lead to jealousy, it can lead to different problems, and oftentimes people who open relationships usually do it as a last resort because maybe they're not happy and they want to open it up, and then oftentimes things dissipate. Not all the time, God no, but that usually is the case. So when it comes down to it with an open relationship, like I said, it's usually you're in a committed relationship with someone, but you're allowed to usually have sex or other intimate relations with other people. You can, if you look at polyamory, they allow you to kind of have multiple relationships, committed relationships even, with more than one person. They believe that you shouldn't just be tied to one person, so you could have 2, 3, 4 different partners. And your partner could also have 2, 3, 4 partners as well. Personally, I don't know how you'd have the amount of time to be able to have that many the relationships, and also have a career or business and do all the other things. But hey, each to their own. That's a journey that a lot of people go on, and no shame in the game. If that's what makes you happy and that is your kind of belief system, go for it. But yeah, that's kind of how it works with polyamory as well. So when we look at, say, an independent relationship, again, this is you in a committed relationship, but oftentimes, both individuals are highly independent. Oftentimes, maybe it doesn't matter, you could be married, you could be new into a relationship, you could be in a relationship for 5 years. Oftentimes, maybe the independent people, they live either as separately, like separate lives, very independent, they're in a relationship, they do things together, but they run separate lives. So maybe you've got your career, you've got a group of friends, you could even go traveling and do holidays on your own or with friends. You don't often do everything with your partner. So independent is like 2 independent people, and they're in a relationship, they can be happy, it can be committed, but because they're highly independent, they don't necessarily need to take care of each other financially, or even on more of a intimate level, right? So it's allowing for 2 individuals to be independent but still be in a relationship. So oftentimes, again, people will live apart, or if they live together, like they may have their own rooms and have their own areas that makes them feel comfortable to still have their own independence as well. Then on the other side of it, you've got, say, a codependent relationship where you kind of need the other person for everything, right? Financially, you're tied to maybe a house or something. You're codependent, you need them for, emotional support, mental support, spiritual support, physical support, right? Like, you're very codependent on each other for, for dinner, for cooking, for this and that, right? It's kind of very much like needing of the other person. These ones are a bit unhealthier if you're really super codependent. For me, I like a mixture of independence and interdependence as well, right? Which is kind of like you're independent, but you also know that you need other people in your life to live a fulfilling life, and so you kind of work together. So that's how I kind of feel like I run my relationship with my partner, is that we have an independent relationship, but we're interdependent, right? We live our lives, we do our things, but we're also very much do a lot of things together, and we enjoy doing that. It comes from choice. So that's when you look at that way as well. Then you've got, say, like the chameleon relationship. And this is where one person, or even both, will do things to shift who they are in order to please the other person. So this is more like a people pleaser person. So you're going to change into someone else because you want to make someone else happy. Maybe because your desire for love is really high. Your desire, makes you be needy and makes you want to shift and change who you are. But then again, the problems there lie to how authentic is that making you feel? How much of yourself are you losing in this relationship? Because oftentimes, if you're trying to shift, you can't pretend to be someone else for too long, right? Things will come out and things will come to the forefront, and maybe what will happen is you'll realize that maybe you're not as connected as possible. This charade can go up for years and years and years, but like oftentimes it doesn't usually last and lead to a very fulfilling relationship because you don't feel love for who you are. You might feel love, but it might be for someone that you're trying to be in order to get this person there. Then you've got, say, the dominating and the submissive relationships, where some person is more dominating the other. It may be that this person here, wearing the pants, calling all of the shots, making all of the decisions, and this person is submissive and just doing whatever their partner is. It's a very kind of different balance, very different balance there. It doesn't necessarily mean it's toxic at all, but by no means it doesn't have to be. It can be, but I would say that it's more likely there's someone who's really in charge, and on the other person, this person, and maybe that this person who's in charge likes that, and the other person who is submissive just kind of likes to someone to lead them and to follow them. There's a lot of relationships that work like that as well. So that's kind of what it is when you've got a dominatrix and a submissive person. It doesn't necessarily always rely on the sexual things. It can be in that way, but it doesn't have to be. It can be more of just someone who likes to be more in charge and take charge and make decisions, who's decisive, and someone who's a little bit more like indecisive, is a bit more go with the flow, could be like that as well. So that's kind of that one as well. Then you look at the next one, which is more of a highly toxic relationship, which could be that like I said, that one before, but usually what it is like there's a high level of control and manipulation on one side, like a little bit of gaslighting, a lot of, maybe like I said, manipulation within that relationship, and it can cause for a very big imbalance, and one person very controlling and the other person very much just like feeling stuck here, but like their self-esteem, their self-worth, their self-confidence is probably being beaten down a bit. And it can happen on both sides. It can be that you're both toxic for each other and you're doing things unwillingly and knowingly, right? There can be abuse in these kinds of relationships, and that can be sexual, that can be physical, that can be mental, emotional, all kinds of different abuse can go on in toxic relationships. Now, a lot of gay men, can get into toxic relationships, especially growing up, the way that we have in the past, where we've had to deal with a lot of, bullying, and we might have had higher mental health problems because we do have that in our community, or maybe our relationship with our family isn't as strong and solid because of the turmoil of us being gay. So we might easily fall into the traps of going into toxic relationships, and if we have low self-worth, self-confidence and self-esteem, we then feel like this is what we deserve or the best we can get. And it's better to be with someone than be alone, right? That's what some people think. So that's kind of what can happen in a highly toxic relationship as well. Then the next one we've got is a rebound relationship, right? Maybe what's happened is you were in a long-term relationship, it's broken up, it fell apart, and you're feeling lonely, you're feeling you're trying to avoid the pain of what happens as you go through the healing stage after a breakup, and then you want to jump straight into the next one, and automatically, because they're making you feel good in the moment, you feel, oh my god, I'm in love with someone. But after a little while, as you start to heal, as you go through the process, which takes some time, you realize, oh my god, this person isn't right for me. So you jumped into a relationship just to also get over maybe the one before that, right? And it's used as a rebound to help you get over it, and you kind of maybe use the person to get over the other one. And then when you're done and you're feeling better, you discard them and you move on looking for someone else because you're in a better place. So that's kind of how the rebound relationship works. The next one is the last resort relationship. Now, what do I mean by the last resort relationship? It means that maybe in your life you have got some people, you've got friends, or people that are interested in you. You're not really interested in them, but if you can't find someone else and you get into a certain age, you class them as the last resort, meaning that they're always going to be there in that way, because they may hold a flame towards you, they may hold an attraction towards you, and they stay single because maybe they have the hope that you will one day want to be with them. And you get older and you realize that maybe you've had some relationships that failed, or you haven't been able to get into a relationship, find someone, and you decide, okay, look, I don't want to be single, so I'm going to take this last resort. And then you settle and you go into a relationship with someone out of convenience because you don't want to be alone. Neither works for either one of you, but you probably hold on to it because you feel like there is much more out there that you can, take from that. So that's kind of the last resort relationship. Next one is the no strings attached relationship. So this is kind of like the independent relationship, but there is literally no strings attached. So you might be the type of person that you have sex, no strings attached, or it might be like you can also go on your date as well, but no strings attached, meaning there's no commitment, you're not owing them anything, you don't have to tell them anything, there's no level of it of anything. It's not, you wouldn't really class it as a relationship. It's just, you know, friends with benefits kind of thing, or yeah, with any kind of benefit, sexually, emotionally, mentally, but like there is no strings attached. It's that kind of level of like, yeah, this is what it is. These are the clear terms. Don't be calling me, you know, blah 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 blah. It is what it is. You know, that's kind of what that is. The next one is the long distance relationship. The long distance relationship is when, of course, you're in a relationship with someone and it's long distance. Maybe you live in different parts of the country, maybe you live internationally, you might have met them in one place and one person had to move for whatever reason, or you were on holiday traveling and you met someone and you've kept in touch. You know, so many of my friends who've been in long-term relationship, it often happened from being on holiday somewhere, traveling around, and you met someone, right? Maybe you were on a Kentucky tour together, maybe you were traveling at the same time in a certain city and you just, you know, hooked up with someone and bam, you found a connection. I've had many friends who've gone through that moment where they've done that and then they've turned that into a long-term relationship, and then, you know, down the track they've either gone their separate ways or they've moved overseas to be with each other, right? So that's the kind of long distance relationship. It's like where you're with someone, you've got certain levels of commitment, you decide, you define the terms of it, but you're in a relationship with this person and it's, you know, long-term, long distance as well. Now, the next one is the smothering relationship. This one is literally where you cannot do anything without the other person. You have to do everything together, meaning you eat every meal together, you go everywhere together, you go to the gym together, you go to the spa together, you go walking together, you go to groceries together, you go to the movies together, you do everything together. So meaning that, you know, you might have friends who are your friend and your partner's friend, but you can't go hang out with them on your own. They have to be together, right? It's a smothering one where you just literally feel suffocated sometimes as well. You know, like there's a high level of codependency. It's like codependency to the max, right? Like you need this person, they're always with you for everything that you do as well. That's the kind of, you know, smothering relationship as well. Then we've got the gold digging relationship. Now this is exactly what it is. It's usually, right, someone's in the relationship specifically trying to get something out of the other person, right? Now, like I said, it might be a younger guy with an older guy who's got money, and the younger guy might be attractive and young, and the older person, you know, is attracted to younger men, and the younger man's attracted to people who can take care of them, right? And if this can be, you know, very harmless or also harmless or very harmful, right? Because on one hand, you can have someone who just stays with you and you both get it, and that might be a transactional relationship, meaning like, you know, I use you for sex, you pay for X, Y, Z, you know, you're gonna be my, you know, trophy boyfriend, and you know, you're gonna give me money, right? That's a transactional kind of level of it. But the gold digging one is where someone's trying to use you specifically, maybe they're unaware of it on this side of it, but this person's trying to get something, and it could be a con artist, it could be just someone trying to take advantage. It doesn't have to necessarily be a young guy with an old guy, but I'm just using that one because I think we all understand that kind of look there as well. So those are the main kinds of ones there. I know there are other ones out there, so love to keep hearing from you. So if you've got stories, you've got questions, you know, you feel like this is you, or you feel like there's something missing, comment below or send me a DM, because I love to hear from you guys about what you think of the episode, what questions you have, or maybe what direction you want me to go in future episodes. All right, then I'm going to be back next week with an upper episode, but I look forward to hearing from you. And always remember that you've got this and I've got you. Bye for now.